Hi everyone, welcome back to another show. My name is Jeetujayson, and you're watching apparently my show. Okay, I haven't named this anything, and I haven't named this show anything. If you have any great names for this show, let me know in the comments. So let's get started. And this video is going to be This is not actually a live stream. This is a pre-recorded stream. I'm just putting it out there, and this is a repeat of the previous video that I uploaded. I think there was some issue with the audio. I chose the audio channel incorrect, so there was a lot of static in it. So this video is about the same thing that I discussed in my last stream. I'm going to be deleting that soon after this. Anyway, so let's get started. The video is about IIT versus MIT, and let me pull up my notes here. So I'm going to brainwash you about how to think about IITs in this country. What is the right perception to have about this? There is this perception that it is a highly prestigious institution, but uh, I will tell you why that is the wrong way to look at it. Okay, let's get started. So the first leg of this rant would be what percentage of IIT students are merit-based versus reserved, versus what percentage of MIT students are reserved versus merit-based. Okay, so let's discuss MIT first, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And as of today in 2026, 0% of seats are actually reservation based or affirmative action, but that might change in the future due to DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, or some stupid thing like that. Anyway, so as of today, it's merit based 100%. Now let's move on to IIT. Uh, IIT has about 18,000 students each year. So India produces 18,000 the topmost elites, the best students that India can produce. Out of those 18,000 students, 1,000 students leave for other nations, mostly US, for doing their undergrad or graduation studies, MIT, Stanford, things like that. So we're down to like 17,000 now. So from 18,000 top students, we are down to like 17,000. So from that 17,000, about 60% is eliminated, or they leave for other universities in India other than IIT because of reservations. Okay, so 60% is the reservation. Around 10,200 students are come from OBC, SC, ST, military, women quotas. These quotas take up to 60% of the IIT seats. So around 10,200 are reservation based. Now we're left over, the leftover geniuses that we have is 6,800. Only 6,800 ish people are actually merit based, open merit based. The remaining are reservation based. Now, so what percentage of that is actually merit based? It is 37.78%, roughly, give or take a few percent up and down. So we have 62% leftover smart people masquerading as elites. That's around 10,200 or 10,300. China has leftover women. We have leftover geniuses. Okay. Anyway, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, they have about 5,500 graduates each year. So compare that with IIT, we have around 6,800 actual merit based, open merit based people. So roughly, IIT processes 1,000 more students each year than MIT does. Okay, so this is the input. Okay, this is what the first leg of the rant is going to be. Now, how does IIT versus MIT select for students? Okay, let's discuss IIT first. Now, IIT actually selects students based off of just JEE main and JEE advanced exams. That's it, nothing else. Okay, which means it actually filters out all kinds of neurodiversity. It focuses only on people who are good at memorization. Okay, so it is a very destructive process for creativity and innovation. Okay, the exam heavily rewards speed, rigid pattern recognition, and formula memorization, which actively stifles original thinkers and creative problem solvers and intellectual risk takers. But let's compare this with MIT now. Okay, so the first thing obviously is academic excellence. They actually, the gatekeeper there also is SAT and ACT scores. So if you don't do well in these exams, you're not going to get into the next level. So the second thing that they filter out for is mission alignment. Okay, tested via short answer essays detailing how you use your skills to help others and solve real world problems. Basically, they check how good your heart is. Are you a nice guy or not? Okay. Uh, So they tested via essays. You have to write them a short cover letter or essay, and they would read that and they would judge you based off of that. The third criteria is collaborative spirit. They verify this through teacher recommendations and interview reports that highlight your teamwork and lack of arrogance. Not sure why they need to filter for this. If it were up to me, I wouldn't do this. I mean, it's okay if your elites are a little arrogant. A healthy ego is not that bad, in my opinion. Okay, this is just me. Um, so the fourth thing they filter out for is proactive impact. They judge this by the depth, leadership, and tangible results listed in your four primary extracurricular activities. Not sure exactly how they filter for this, how they gauge or judge this, but it seems like a thing that they do for selecting students. Okay, maybe it's working for them. The fifth one is resilient risk taking. So they assess through personal essays again. So describing a significant failure and how you handled it and what you learned from it. I actually got asked this question when I was applying for a job in US company. So they asked me what was the one of the biggest failures of your life in software development and how did you handle it. Okay, so it's a good thing that they ask, because in reality you would fail at a bazillion things. You will lose a lot of battles. So how do you handle them is an important trait to have. So they filter for that as well. Now let's look at the faculties of these two institutions. Okay, that is the next leg of this rant. Um, what percentage of MIT faculty seats are reserved as of today? No faculty seats are reserved at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Hiring is conducted through open merit-based searches as of today. Now, DEI might change that. Okay, so as of today, that's not the case. It might change in the future. I don't know. Now, what percentage of IIT faculty seats are reserved? So the unreserved category, the open merit category, is around 40.5% roughly, and reserved category is around 59.5%. Around close to 60% is reserved on paper. Okay. Now, as of early 2025, there's a report that indicates that over 80% of faculties across IIT systems belong to the general open merit category. So on paper it's supposed to be 60% reservation, but only 20% is actually reserved in practice. Okay, and in older institutions like IIT Bombay and IIT Kharagpur, the figure exceeds 90%. Now I have no way of verifying this, okay, whether this is true or not. This is just a report that I read online. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Okay, take it with a big pile of salt. Okay, I'm not sure about this. Now, also, there's another report. This is not a report, actually. This is now the Supreme Court of India has directly intervened to enforce these rules. Okay. In December of 2022, the court issued a landmark directive to the central government and all 23 IITs. It ordered them to strictly follow the Central Education Institutions Reservation in Teachers Cadre Act 2019. So the Supreme Court is forcing it to forcing these institutions to bring down their uh, open merit down to 40% from 80 or 90%. Okay, which is their job. So we will see. I don't know whether the 80 or 90% is true or not. Maybe if it is true, if these numbers are to be believed, then that means 80% or 90% is actually merit based. But legally they're not allowed to do that. They're breaking the law when they do this, actually. Anyway, I'm happy about it. Now, what is the MIT number of graduates? And let's look at the output of this. Okay, this is the input, the faculties and the students. Let's look at the outputs of these institutions, what they produce exactly. Let's compare the number of Nobel Prizes won by each institution. Take a wild guess. How many Nobel Prizes did MIT win? It's 90 plus till date. Okay, and they process about 4,500 to 5,500 students each year. Okay, they have been doing that for a while now. Now let's compare that with IIT. IIT processes 18,000, 15 to 18,000 students each year, so closely 3 times that of MIT, roughly. And the amount of Nobel laureates that they were able to produce with that amount of churn rate or processing is, take a wild guess. Okay, like it's not even one, it's zero. Not one, nil, nada, nothing, not even one, not even by chance. Okay, so the country that invented the number zero has zero Nobel laureates coming out of IIT. India has Nobel laureates from other institutions, but it's not from IIT. So basically, Aryabhatta maybe might have been a time traveler. He knew that IITians are never going to win a Nobel Prize. So let's go back in time and invent a number that represents the number of Nobel laureates won by IITs till date. Okay, it's a joke. Relax. Now, for the record, the first IIT Kharagpur began in August of 1951. It started with a batch of 224 students only. So, IIT didn't always have like 18,000 students each year. They started with only 224 students, out of which approximately 210 students graduated in 1955. So, it's not an apples to apples comparison. Okay, if because IIT started with fewer students than MIT, but now it is processing more students than MIT. So over the next few decades, IIT actually ramped up their the number of students they process. So now they are roughly three times that of uh, MIT. Now, three times if you take in all the students. Now, we're not going to compare all the students because 60% is reservation based. So we're only going to take 6,800, which is actual open merit based. So let's compare apples to apples as opposed to apples to rotten oranges, rotten tomatoes, whatever. So another factoid of this is, the Kharagpur Institute operated with just 42 teachers and just 10 departments. At that time, it was housed in the historic Hijli detention camp. So they were actually building the campus, but they didn't wait for the campus to finish. They started lectures or class within the detention camp. So the prison cells in which our freedom fighters were imprisoned were actually the classrooms of these 200-ish students back then. So pretty dope. It's legendary to be the part of the first batch that said that, where did you study? In a detention camp. So that's that. So basically, IIT acts like a finishing school. IIT isn't a research institution as much as it is a taxpayer funded prep school for US visas. I mean, nothing against it. I mean, if people want to go abroad, that's fine. It's her choice. Okay. India pays for the tuition, and MIT gets the PhD applicants. It's the greatest international charity program in history. Not that it matters. Okay, when it comes to winning Nobel prizes, even the people who go abroad after finishing IIT, even they don't win Nobel prizes. Okay, still no IIT has ever won a Nobel. So they talk about Nalanda University. I'm starting to think that Nalanda was like an ancient IIT, all huff and puff, all prestige, and no real achievement impact on a global level. Okay, if you destroyed MIT today, all the inventions that came out of MIT will still remain, even if you destroy MIT, like the World Wide Web invented by MIT professor Tim Berners-Lee. That would still exist even if you burn down MIT today. Email by Ray Tomlinson, an MIT graduate, is credited with inventing network email. That would still exist even if you burn down MIT today. Microchip, Robert Noyce, an MIT alum, co-founded Intel, the company, and invented the microchip. That would still exist. The Intel company would still exist even if you burn down MIT. CRISP technology, MIT lab pioneered adapting CRISP protein for gene editing and diagnostics. That would still exist if you burn down MIT. So GPS and radar, they didn't actually invent GPS and radar. MIT radiation labs played a vital role in perfecting radar, not inventing, perfecting radar detection and navigation during World War II. That would still exist even if you burn down MIT today. Space and astronomy. MIT leads modern blah 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 astrophysics, including contribution to detecting gravitational waves, and the first image of a black hole. The first image of a black hole would still exist even if you burn down MIT. The digital computer, 1944, born out of MIT's project Whirlwind. This was the first digital computer capable of operating in real time with electronic memory, laying the groundwork for all modern operating systems. Okay, that would still exist. Spreadsheet software, 1979, developed by Dan Bricklin at MIT. VisiCal was the name of the spreadsheet. I don't think it's in use today, but that was the world's first electronic spreadsheet, turning computers from hobbyist toys into essential business tools. So the spreadsheets will still exist in on Earth, even if you burn down MIT. Now let's compare this with IIT. What did they invent? Okay, Aether Energy. So the first IPO incubated out of IIT Madras, pioneering modern smart electric scooters in India. They made a fucking scooter. Okay. Nanomaterial arsenic filter 2013. Professor T. Pradeep cleans lethal arsenic from water without electricity. Kudos to that. I think that is a pretty solid invention. Core Direct Wireless Loop 1994. Professor A. Jhunjhunwala brought cheap wireless internet to rural villages. That is also valuable, I think. I don't think it achieved commercial success though. Anyway, Nedra tactical drone 2009. A Mehta, R Singh, and A Bhatt provides military grade autonomous aerial surveillance. I'm not sure whether this is a commercial success or just a project. Shakti microprocessor. This is definitely not a commercial success. 2018. Professor K. Virinathan. I think he's a Mallu. India's first secure, completely homegrown microchip. Nobody's using this. Okay, everybody's using Intel or AMD. Smart Cane 2014. Professor M. Balakrishnan and R. Paul uses ultrasonic sensors to protect blind walkers as if they didn't know how to walk with sticks. Um, so it's not a serious invention, like fuck blind people. Okay, maybe not. Have you noticed the pattern in all of these inventions? Like all IIT inventions are unimpressive. This is called as input versus the value add fallacy. There is a reason why IITs don't win Nobel prizes. Okay, it's because it is a system where the institution's prestige relies entirely on how hard it is to get into one of these institutions. The input fallacy, rather than the paradigm shifting research it produces, the value add. Okay, so IIT is like an input where the whole USP is about how difficult it is to get into it, versus MIT, which is a value add institution. Nobody talks about how difficult it is to get into one of them, get into it. It's mostly about what comes out of MIT versus what goes into IITs. So yeah, that's what everyone talks about in this country. Anyway, the conversations about IIT always revolves around how difficult it is to get into one of them, the input fallacy. Never about value add. Okay, this is called as cargo culting. Okay, it's just IITs are just cargo culting MIT at this point, in my opinion. Okay, and don't take my word for it. I'll explain why. For those who don't know what cargo culting is it's actually a political religious movement in some island chains above Australia. So they are basically tribal people, and during World War II, the US military actually colonized these islands and brought in food, clothing, water, shelter, a lot of abundance. Basically, they've never seen that kind of abundance before. So when the U.S. military left after World War II, these tribes started mimicking the rituals of the U.S. military, like marching with a gun, building aerial towers, building bamboo airstrips, all superficial, nothing functional. They just imitated their rituals so that they get abundance. Okay, so to give you a definition of cargo culting, means mimicking the superficial outward forms of a successful system, like building a bamboo airstrip, while entirely missing the underlying operational principles needed to make it functional. Okay, so that's what basically IITs are. It's a cargo cult for MIT. um, IITs are notoriously more selective than MIT, but historically operates as undergraduate training hubs rather than cutting edge research facilities. And plus, the protocol culture in IIT versus MIT, the hierarchy of sir madam culture. In MIT, you call a Nobel laureate Bob, not sir, not madam, Bob. In IIT, if you don't call a guy with zero citations respected sir, your internal marks vanish into the void. Okay, now, let's compare the number of Nobel laureates India has produced and from which institutions these came from. There are about 12 Nobel laureates, but two of them are foreign people, so we're not going to count this. So there are only 10 Nobel laureates who are either born in India or are ethnically Indian. Now, out of that, around four of them is for Nobel Peace Prize and Nobel literature and all of that. So I'm not going to count that because like I'm not going to take that seriously, because Barack Obama won a Nobel Peace Prize after bombing a bunch of people. So you expect me to take that seriously? No. So Nobel Peace Prize and Nobel Prize in Literature, I'm going to ignore that. So sorry, Rabindranath Tagore, I'm not interested in poems. I'm heavily biased towards STEM. Okay, so that is why I'm going to attribute India has about 5.5 Nobel laureates. Okay, half because one of them is an economics uh, Nobel Prize. So economics is not a pseudoscience, but it's not STEM either. It's arts. Okay, so I'm going to give it like half price. Okay, I'm heavily biased against arts. So institutions and the Nobel laureates. So guess the number one institution that produces the most amount of Nobel laureates in India. It's not IIT. Not a single IIT is in this list. Okay, the University of Kolkata, including the Presidency College, has about 4 Nobel laureates. Presidency College, Chennai, has 2 Nobel laureates. Vishwa Bharati University, Shantiniketan, 1. JNU Delhi, 1. This is, I think, for economics, so I'll give it a half price. Okay. MS University of Baroda, 1. This is for chemistry, but the guy was actually a physicist. I'm going to talk about this later. Punjab University, Chandigarh, 1. Sati Vidisha, 1. Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science, IACS, 1. Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, 1. Ironically, India's only modern science Nobel laureate, Dr. Venkatraman Ramakrishnan, he won a Nobel Prize in 2009 for chemistry, actually failed to clear the IIT JEE entrance exam. Failing the exam redirected him to study pure physics at Maharaja FMS University, Maharaja Sayaji Rao University of Baroda, and later structural biology abroad. Okay, do you know why he failed? Okay, this is interesting now. Don't take my word for it. Don't listen to whatever I said in this video. Listen to his words. Okay, Dr. Venkatraman Ramakrishnan did not pass the IIT JEE primarily because he did not take the coaching classes, which his parents considered nonsense. Quote, okay, these are their words, not mine. I'm paraphrasing here, but that is the gist of it. You can watch this video. During a public lecture at the Indian Institute of Science, IISC, he explained these circumstances behind his failure. Okay, no test preparation. His parents were old-fashioned scientists who refused to pay for typical entrance exam coaching classes. They didn't even want to pay for it. Okay, no institutional pressure. His family did not equate exam rejection with lifelong failure and believed personal capabilities mattered more than institutional prestige, which is what I'm saying in this video. His father, Professor C.V. Ramakrishnan, not C.V. Raman. C.V. Raman is a physicist. C.V. Ramakrishnan, his father, was a renowned biochemist. He set up and served as the HOD of biochemistry at Maharaja Sayaji Rao University of Baroda, the same institution that he went to do his physics. His mother is also a scientist. Professor Rajalakshmi Ramakrishnan was also a scientist. She obtained a PhD in psychology from McGill's University in Canada, completing the rigorous degree in a record 18 months. Okay, so they are both scientists. So he stated that his parents were old-fashioned academics who did not buy into the commercial entrance exam hype. Okay, they refused to send him to preparatory tuitions because they felt coaching classes were nonsense. Quote, and the true scientific capability could not be manufactured by cramming for a single test. And he did win a Nobel Prize, so maybe they were right. Now let's compare the institutions in India that did produce Nobel laureates and how many students they process. Uh, so the University of Calcutta, they process about 4,000 graduates each year, 2,000 to 4,000 graduates each year, less than what IIT does. Okay, IIT has 18,000. This has 4,000. We're only going to take like 6,800 because that is what actual merit based is. Okay, and then there is Presidency College Chennai. They process 3,000 students, less than IIT. Vishwa Bharati University, 3,000 to 5,000 students, less than what IIT does. JNU, 7,000 students, less than what IIT processes each year. Abhijit Banerjee is from this university for economics, so that is the half price that I was talking about. MS University, 25 to 35 students. This is the only institution that produces more, that processes more students than IIT. And Punjab University also, they process 20 to 30,000. So 2 universities actually process more students than IIT. Sati Vidisha, that is 1,000 to 1,500 graduates each year. IACS 200 to 400 graduates each year. IISc Bangalore 1000 to 1500 graduates each year. Okay, so except for two, every other institution that has produced a Nobel laureate processes less uh, students each year than IIT does. So this makes me wonder, at least probabilistically, if you simply have more students than other institutions, and if you're an elite institution, you by chance, by luck, just out of dumb probability, you should have at least a few Nobel laureates. But IIT doesn't even have one. So that makes me wonder, okay, maybe IIT is just jinxed. Okay, no Nobel laureate even wanted to teach, be a faculty or a director or research or anything at IIT. That means all of them avoided it till now. Now, call it coincidence or a conspiracy theory or something. It seems like IIT is jinxed if you want to win a Nobel Prize. Okay, I'm joking, obviously. So that is the whole rant for today. Read what you will into it, but I think the right way to look at IIT is like IITs are basically a cargo cult for MIT at this point. And that's about it for this video. I'm going to end the stream here. And if you are interested in supporting me, like, comment, subscribe. And if you want to give me some money, if you want to open your wallets for me, please do so. My link for GPay and PayPal is in the description. And if you want to join my Telegram group, please do that. Yeah, I will buy a PlayStation Pro with the money that you give me, with your hard-earned money that you earn by doing a 9 to 5 corporate slave job. Give me that money so that I could enjoy it. Okay, at least one of us can enjoy our life. Okay, I'm just joking. Relax. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll see you in another show. I don't know when it will happen. I'm not consistent with these shows. So anyway, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thank you.